Hello, beautiful twin flames. Hello, all the light workers out there. I welcome you online for my live streaming. If you are watching my video at a later stage, I thank you for logging in. For my regular subscribers, I welcome you back, and I hope to bring some smiles on your faces and some messages, some hope, some guidances. Oh, well, trigger, trigger, trigger. How many of you divine feminines out there are feeling triggered one way or another? Okay, last three. Hi. Hi, Mishupi. Hi, Ravisha. Indeed, today is 6/6/11, and yesterday was 11/11. 6 plus 5 is 11, and the year rounds off to an 11. So wow, we are back in gateways and portals, and it's very I don't know, good news, bad news, however you wish to take it. But if you are one of those who was going through massive changes, upheavals, triggers, what have you not, last August, well, like I mentioned, the eclipse season is going to be upon us in July and August this year. We are back to that with all the retrogrades, like we needed something else, but now the triggers have started. Okay, couple of things about the triggers. One, if it is not inside you, it will not surface. So you need to deal with it. Hey Mishupi, you know what? I was planning to kind of call up a few of you today, and I in fact might do it after this live streaming as well. But since my son's school starts from tomorrow, I have to suddenly get him raincoats, some school supplies, and which is why I'm looking like a giant mess right now. I do apologize, if I'm not very presentable right now, but instead of wasting time, I thought it's best I go online as I am. So I'm going to talk to you guys one on one as well, for those of you who are in touch with me and I do have your phone numbers and stuff. I will be getting in touch with you today and tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Oh Lord. I love you, goddesses. I love you, my beautiful divas. And Ravisha, I did not know you had a channel also. I'm going to so check it out. And if you are doing work with children, because I feel working with your inner child is one of the most crucial steps for healing. So, we have to collaborate on that, right? We are going to talk about it. And we'll maybe, do something together. I don't know how we're going to do it because I'm not yet that tech savvy with Vibha did mention in one of her comments. Oh, you commented on Vibha's, right? Okay. We'll check that out, and maybe then we can collaborate. And since you are into psychology and stuff, we all can just work together, and our purpose and our mission can somewhere cross over. And I know that I had misunderstood about your psychology too. I'm sorry about that, because these messages come so quickly and disappear. And it's written really small, and while I'm trying to get the messages straight, I get a little confused sometimes. So I'm sorry, Ravisha. Yes, inner child healing is crucial. It's crucial because most of our wounds, insecurities, fears are triggered in our childhood or start from our childhood. Even if it's a past life issue, it cannot actually be activated in this life. And people think that inner child work means that you had to be children, but it can happen. Your inner child can be formed even a month ago, for example. Anything that triggers a old fear or subconscious belief, or some dysfunctional aspect which has remained unhealed over lifetimes, that passageway is what we call the inner child, right? So it is very important to go down and heal it. And for that, hypnotherapy really works wonders. EFT also works really well, but I, at least a person like me, it doesn't work too well. It works well with people who are very tactile in nature. You know, I'll tell you all a game that you can use to figure out what kind of person you are. You know, take 10 to 12 random objects such as books, mango. I'm back on mango, what's wrong with me? uh, you know, silken sheet, um, a chiffon sari, lemon, okay, such random stuff. Make a list, and then uh, describe them in brief words, each object, right? And you will come to know, based on the kind of language you're using, uh, whether you are tactile, or whether, you know, what I mean by tactile is, if you describe things as how it feels, when you're even describing emotions. Do you say, I'm feeling um sour? That means it is your tongue, right? I'm feeling like I've been roughed up. That's your tactile senses. But I'm getting off the topic that I have for today. So today, the gateway 6611. Okay. Well, six is a number of harmony, of love, and a lot of things, good things, are definitely going to be coming our way in June, starting from June, like I've been saying. Next few months are all very, very crucial. We don't know who is on what um, timeline, or which wave, or, you know, it doesn't really matter, because we all are working towards the same destination. But what is important is, currently a lot of the divine feminines are feeling triggered. And as I was saying, if it is not an unhealed wound or aspect of yours, you will not be getting triggered. So it is very crucial, especially now, because some of us are very close to finding the resolution that we have been seeking. How it will happen, we do not know. Okay, but another reason why it is happening is because what is going on with the divine masculines. The divine masculines are being triggered in a different manner. There's a deep sadness. The feeling their life is completely out of control. Okay, they are trying very hard to control aspects of their life, the old life that as they knew it. They're really fighting for it, you know, be it to make their marriages work, be it to get certain things going in their careers. But till they are not embracing the principles that twin flames are supposed to walk on, such as truth, transparency, trust of the divine plan, the divine purpose, the divine timing, such as integrity, such as authenticity, such as compassion, such as giving, you know, not just wanting to receive, true self love, not the egoistical selfishness which they think is self love. Being in the ego, you know, they're not letting go, or they are, and it is taking them a lot of time. It's, they are finding it very challenging. But currently, to be very honest, what I have been shown is they are being bombarded from left, right, and center. They're feeling pressured by their families, their mothers, a lot of issues with their mothers, and maybe sisters who are either in a, you know, they look at the sister in a form of a daughter almost, or in a mother, you know, much older, much younger, with their actual spouse, with certain friends, in their jobs. You know, they are feeling challenged from every side. And their healing process is very, very different from how the feminines do it. You know, we form our communities, we express, we even if, you know, we are not on the same situations, we manage to listen to each other, we manage to gain some kind of emotional support, if nothing else, from each other. We have found compassion, and we have kind of let go of judgment and criticism, and we have learned that, we need to accept that each one has a different journey, and we have learned how to put ourselves in certain positions. We know that we have to let go of our controlling behavior. We can no longer be in the karmic behavior of controlling, nagging, torturing, giving them a deadline, of saying this should happen till then or else, and threatening with consequences. That's all karmic behavior. We have all gone through the karmic process to become what we are, known as the divine feminines, right? So when we keep reverting to that behavior, that is our lesson, that you're still there, you're still carrying parts of it, and you have to let go. What you need to do is not just focus on your careers, because I was very happy when I read the comments of Ravisha and Vibha, as well as a friend of mine who I was speaking to, and she has been like, I'll focus on myself, my career, my dreams, and which is what you're supposed to do. Holding space for the divine masculine to come back does not mean you put your life on hold, your dreams on hold, or be unhappy in the meantime, be in pining and yearning. You have to heal those aspects. You have to still be in a very happy zone. You have to be healthy. Ravisha, I'll come to your physical illnesses in a moment. So you have to be taking care of yourself while holding space, okay? Holding space in a very loving manner, by forgiving what has happened in the past, as let it go. Just be careful that it does not happen again in a certain way, because if they are not yet in your vibration, the reason they cannot come back is that they will hurt you. They have to work, and the only way you can assist your divine masculine to raise their vibration is to raise your vibration even higher. Since you are attached with a cord, right, they have no option but to follow. Okay, but if you're going to keep lingering in one zone, they are going to linger where they are at as well. And do remember, in some things they are higher than us in the vibration. In some things we are higher than them, but our processes are very, very different. How we deal with our individual, when we were going through tower moments, or the dark night of the soul, or the death of the ego, the feminines dealt with it very differently. The masculines deal with it things like, they might be sitting in front of the television for hours and not really paying attention. They might be just listening to very loud music. They might be going on long drives, or going for excessive exercise, much more than they usually do. Physical workouts, or swimming, or running, or something like that. Those of them who are still not out of addictions might be right now trying to suppress it using suppressants, depressants, such as drugs, alcohol, mind, anything that is mind numbing. But the good thing is, no matter what, the internal process, the healing, the awakening is happening regardless of what somebody does or doesn't do. And you have to trust that. And what is important for the divine feminines to remember is not to remain in your body of pain. If you're still carrying sorrow, grief, feeling rejected, you're letting your fears, that what if, and what if he chooses the karmic over me, you have to somehow come to a balance of being okay and happy whatever your current situation is. And every time you get ruffled, you get triggered, you have to come back to that center point, okay? For that, there are whole amount of tools and stuff. Some of the things, some of you who have taken my workshops, I have already taught you, and I keep giving free in my audio messages, or in my uh, even in these videos, such as the violet flame, or focusing on your breathing, or allowing your. Hey guys, am I back? Am I back online? Can someone please just tell me if I'm online, or am I still disconnected? Yeah, I don't know where I was, but because I was talking continuously, and that's what happens when I'm kind of taking the information directly. Uh, but what I was essentially saying is, if the divine feminines, if you are not able to come back to your center, use the tools such as breathing, or when you are journaling, just or if you can just record without thinking, just record your voice and just say all that is there in your heart. Then you will, when you can hear it back after an hour or so, you will see the keywords, that he is choosing so and so. That tells you that you are feeling rejected. You'll have to become your own uh, analyst for some time, because you might not be able to get in touch with your therapist every day. Okay. Some of us are friends with some other divine feminines, and so we can guide them on a pretty much day to day basis, but not everybody has that luxury. So at times you'll have to kind of analyze yourself and see that, okay, I'm not being able to get through this on my own, and then you can probably take appointments or ask for the workshop material or whatever. Can No, Ravisha, in my previous video also, I'm coming to that. What does destiny mean? What does predestined mean? you know um, since you're on this journey, I'm sure I'm not the only person you're following who's a twin flame mentor or whatever they like to call themselves, and they keep on telling you, right, that it is going to happen. Know it, the union will happen. But the more you doubt, every time you say, I want out, I am getting out of this, you kind of bring in a blockage. It's all right to be triggered, but it's not all right to want to keep running, because you are uh, kind of doing the same thing that the masculines are doing. Stop running as well as stop chasing. Just stay and stay centered over there. It's all right to be moved and to be triggered, and we all are going through it. Some are going through it more, some are going through it less. But right now, what is happening is, if your divine masculine is going through, for example, not feeling in control of his life in a way of mental, as a mental energy, because he's finding that there are so many troubles that are happening, or he's not being able to earn the kind of money, or he gets cheated out of money that was owed to him and somebody betrays him on that, or there is pressure about looking after his family. Maybe he's the only provider, or that he feels he's not contributing, or he still has things remaining pending with his karmic partner. The lessons are not over, the give and take is not over, the or maybe he's just doesn't even know that the vows and contracts are officially over when you are introduced to your twin flame. Maybe he feels like he'll be breaking a religious vow. Okay, so for those various reasons, they are feeling very, very pressured. I'm so glad. Thank you, girls. So when they are getting triggered over here, the feminines are getting triggered in their emotions. So supposing the divine masculine is confused and he is feeling, maybe this is not the right decision. That's exactly, he's thinking it very strongly, but you are feeling it, that, oh my god, he's going to choose her, he's going to not leave her, he's never going to come back, right? So you get triggered, or it is coming to you to kind of test you. A lot of us are being tested right now, which you have been tested before, and if you have not passed it with flying colors, it is coming back again as a test. There, are you going to get triggered again? For example, when my divine masculine was supposed to come and meet me, I think a couple of months back. And then I kind of knew the next, the night before, that he's not going to come up. And I was going to text him and say it's kind of all right, but then I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. And then the next day he kind of said, I have this massive headache and this, that. But then I got triggered. So I kind of flunked it, right? So It's okay to for me to get upset for some time, but I should have communicated once I had come back into my center. Because when they see you in pain, it kind of pushes them away. And when you're okay with wherever and whatever what is happening, is when they can slowly start coming and resolving. You have to come on the same page, but when you're on different vibrations, how can you be on the same page, right? So you have to learn to be in a happy space now that you have accepted, and you're focusing on your mission work, you're focusing on your individual careers, you are having fun with your friends, you're taking care of your diet, your exercise, or whatever it is you're doing for self love, or you have restarted a hobby that you had left off. Now what you have to do is find your happiness, refine. The reason why I had started this channel was I thought there enough people giving tarot readings and who are probably talking about the experiences, but I felt nobody is focusing on keeping the romance alive, not as in a desire, not as in a wanting, and but within you, keeping that vibration alive of love and romance, of the sensuality, which is very sensuality. I do not mean it in a very sexual way, which is also a very important part though, but it is so crucial to feel like what you felt as an innocent child, falling in love for the first time, be it you were 3 years old, be it you were 13 years old. The first time you had the stirrings of love, when you didn't know anything about relationships or intimacy, or that this should end up in marriage or anything. There was a smile when you saw the person. You might have never spoken, but there was an innocence. We have to go back to that level of innocence, and you have to keep that trust in true love alive in you. And if the divine feminines can't keep it alive in them, now divine masculines have been for centuries pretty much kept away. um, Somebody had put it very beautifully, and I can't seem to remember, but the example, and I'm going to elaborate using my own, because well, me being a writer, I make a story out of everything. So it is like they were hunters and gatherers, right? They had to learn to be fearless. They After that they became warriors. There were a lot of wars, there were a lot of battles, there was a lot of stuff that was happening, which kept them away from their homes for months. And they could not have been soft hearted, they could not carry so much mercy in them, so they had to kind of, if you can visualize it, in an animation form, if you get, if you have faint heart, imagine if they could, they have ripped out their heart, left it in their home with the divine feminines, and then they went out essentially heartless. I'm playing on words here. And now after centuries, uh, we are trying to replace their heart back into their chest, right? When we met them, their heart was being replaced, and they're resisting it. Why? Because it makes them feel so much. They don't know what to do with those feelings. It scares them. Can you believe it? They're afraid of love, of being loved. They're okay with compromises. They're okay where they don't feel so much, because they feel in control. But where they are feeling genuine love, where they are feeling that somewhere she is guiding me, of course that is challenging and threatening their masculine egos, but also the vulnerability, that I don't like seeing her in pain, and I'm the cause of this pain, for example, I might as well stay away. It's not, don't take things personally. And if you are a twin flame, the best thing I can say to you is literally put yourself in their shoes, literally, and see their life now as you are, as you would have seen it, and you will realize why they're doing what they are doing, why they're making something a priority, uh, and not being able to give you the time and attention and effort, energy, whatever it is you're requiring from them. You'll say, but how hard is it to kind of text or respond to a text? But you have to understand, when they're not in that space emotionally, or they are deliberately shutting it down because it makes them feel so much, okay, they're deliberately not wanting to think about it, not wanting to feel, and you are saying, but how hard is it for them to call or text? Imagine if your worst fear kept coming back in front of you. Right now we are somewhere their worst fears. Horrible way of saying it, but kind of, yeah. Now there's another story I always tell people to kind of explain why the divine masculine gets all perplexed after the bubble phase. All right, it's like we are watching a Hindi serial, a soap, okay, and where there is this man who has a regular life. Either he's married or not, but he has a family with mother, and he has a job, a steady thing. He might have a wife and children or whatever. And one day he sees another woman, and she looks extremely familiar and causes an unrest in him. He doesn't understand what it is. And then, he kind of accidentally bumps into her, and they have a minimum interaction, and he's feeling a deeper sense of familiarity, but she recognizes him, right? And now in the soap, one fine day the doorbell rings, and there is this that woman in his at his door, right? And the wife comes out, his children come out, and his family members come out, as in Ekta Kapoor serials, and everyone is giving looks and everything. And this woman comes in, and he's like, how can I help you? And she's like, don't you remember me? And he's like, no, we did meet a couple of times, but I don't know you. And she's like, yeah, you do. And he's like, no, I don't. And he knows, he can feel in his heart it's thumping louder, and he's feeling a sense of deja vu and a familiarity growing in him. And like Rishi Kapoor in Curse, he's like kind of holding his head, and and she says to him, I'm your wife. And he's like, what? WTF? Like, what? And everyone's reaction. Right? And she's like, I'm your wife, don't you remember? And she starts telling him stuff about him, and he's like, how does she know all this about me, right? And she's like, I can take you. And he can't seem to resist her, but he's now scared. He thinks either she's a witch, or she is manipulating him, or she is, there's some lies, there's some deceit over here. And now his current wife is like, who is she? And what is your relationship with her? And she is doing one drama here, and he's like, no, I swear I don't know her. I don't know who she is, right? And he's got like this amnesia, he cannot remember her. But every time, now he starts remembering a bit more. So because it is so unsettling, and now his wife is threatening to walk out on him, and his parents are upset, and things like that, and she takes him somewhere and kinds of shows that this is where we lived and this is what our life was. And he kind of starts remembering, but he doesn't want to. He wants to go back to this home that he has been living for past 3 years, 7 years, whatever years. And now he just doesn't know what to do. Okay, so even when he has remembered fully, he's just sitting there pensively and wondering, what do I do? I have obligations here, but now I remember who she is. Okay, and you're like, hey, that's not hard, she's your first love, you loved her and everything. He's like, yeah, but what about these people? What do I do with them? I have obligations here too. So supposing if it was a soap opera, it's easier to understand it in a very dramatic sense. But that's kind of, sort of, isn't that what's kind of happening? That you are trying to remind them, and their soul does remember, their heart does remember. They do know that there is something here. And in the bubble phase, they remembered that you are soulmates, or you have something from a past life, but then they have run so far because they just can't keep up, and it's kind of giving them terrible headaches. And a lot of times, divine feminines, when you are emotionally distraught, they actually get massive headaches. They just do. Can they feel us? Yes. Can they feel when we are in stress? But it does not uh, prompt them to reach out, which is the strangest thing ever. You would assume if someone cares about you when you're in distress, they would reach out as the divine feminine reaches out. But if you were to ask the divine masculine, he kind of wants to deal with things his way, figure it out on his own. And the more you want to kind of tell him and show him and tell, like I used to kind of tell my divine masculine, you have to meditate every day, you have to do this, that. No, let them find their own way. Yes, we get impatient, and right now a lot of us are feeling impatient because you can sense there's something shifting, there's something changing, which brings me to today's portal. Yes, it's already the shift, the end of certain cycles which they have been given chance after chance after chance. They are not been doing it. We have been told that we have free will. In the three dimension, in some things we had free will, but as twin flames, when we talk about the word destiny, you're destined, then some things, no matter what you choose, is going to lead you to a predetermined destination. That's the definition of destiny, predetermined destination. So you have to just focus on your faith, your trust, and every time you go through challenges and triggers, pray, clean your energies, and surrender, and then surrender some more, and then surrender yet again. I say that to myself, I say that to my friend, and I'm saying it to all of you because fear is the enemy of love. Love and fear cannot coexist. Either you can live in fear or you can live in love. You can either keep compromising or you can lead a life that makes you truly happy, truly, not by the materialistic senses. Anything right now when you're trying to manifest, if it is not somehow for the greater good, or is indirectly in fact negative for the greater good, you will find blockages over there. If you are manifesting something which is somehow connected to your life mission, your life purpose, your destiny, if it is for the greater good, it is instantly manifesting. um, I'm going to just quickly take a small, not a break, but I'm bringing to you certain passages from my childhood, bolo, young youth. Uh, my favorite book, The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. I know it's in the reverse because we are in live streaming, but don't look at Fountainhead as the book written by someone who's written about objectivism and rationalism and individualism, which are all very crucial. I'm going to say something which is going to make Ayn Rand kind of roll around in her grave, and I feel she is one person who has understood the twin flame journey. Not only that, she has predicted the ascension from 3D to 5D in her book Atlas Shrugged, which I'll talk about in another video, and I've been dying to do it for very, very long. But today I'm just going to read out 3 passages. When you first start getting triggered, second is the middle of the journey, and third, what you expected to. This is both for all divine masculines and feminines. Okay, of course they're not literal. uh, She was tortured by peculiar things, by the street where he lived, by the doorstep of his door, by the cars that turned the corner of his block. She resented the cars in particular. She wished she could make them drive onto the next street. She looked at the garbage pail by the stoop next door and wondered whether he had stood there when he passed by on his. Hi, am I back online? I'll wait for one of your comments. Am I live? Is there some way of stopping calls from coming in when you're doing live streaming? If somebody knows that, it would be great help. Yay, I'm online. Okay, I'm going to start again. I'm just going to start again. She was tortured by peculiar things, by the street where he lived. But then how can I go online if I'm on airplane mode? Is that possible? Oh, thank you, girls. Next time I'll do that. Okay, thank you. I'll do that. Cool, I really did not know this. Oh, awesome. That means I could have gone online yesterday too. Ravisha. Okay. So she was tortured by peculiar things, by the street where he lived, by the doorstep of his house, by the cars that turned the corner of his block. She resented the cars in particular. She wished she could make them drive onto the next street. She looked at the garbage pail by the stoop next door and wondered whether it had stood there when he passed by on his way to the office this morning, whether he had looked at that crumpled cigarette packet on top. Once in the lobby of his house, she saw a man stepping out of the elevator. She was shocked for a second. She had always felt as if he was the only inhabitant of that house. When she rode up in the small self-operating elevator, she stood leaning against the wall, her arms crossed over her breast, her hands hugging her shoulders, feeling huddled and intimate, as if in a stall under a warm shower. Um, I'm cutting to now a dialogue that she says to him. I wanted to tell that man, don't look at him. You have no right to want to look at anything else. Don't like him. You'll have to hate the rest of the world. It's like that. You damn fool. One or the other, not together, not with the same eyes. Don't look at him. Don't like him. Don't approve. That's what I wanted to tell him, not you and the rest of it. I can't bear to see that. I can't stand it. Anything to take you away from it, from their world, from all of them, anything. Now, this passage is kind of elucidating how when you first start getting triggered or when you've just met your twin, you want you both to be kept away from the rest of the world because you are afraid. You're afraid of being judged, of being hurt by the world, of the world corrupting, contaminating the pure love that you share, by the hold the world has on you, and you want to somehow protect and shield the two of you in a dome away from everybody else. You don't want anything else to kind of have any ownership. You don't want to share that sacred space with anybody else. And you allow your fear of the world, of the 3D world, to become so big that it clouds you. And that is exactly what your triggers are for you to go in and let go of all the hold that across centuries and lifetimes and space and dimension and timelines you have been programmed. Any hold that the world, the society has over you or your twin flame, you have to stop being afraid of anything and everything, including What if we don't end up together? The next is the middle of the phase, right? Now the hero is working in some outlandish place, and she is going to go and get married to her karmic the next day. So she suddenly gets off from the train and goes to where he's working, and they're having a very nice conversation. It's very emotional. If you can read this book, and just Ayn Rand will really roll in her grave, but read it as a love story. Oh my god, it's beautiful. And she said, I want to remain here with you for all the years we might have. He looked at her attentively, waiting. I want to live here. Her voice had the sound of pressure against a dam. I want to live here as you live. Not to touch my money, I'll give it away to anyone. If you wish, it doesn't matter. We'll take a house here like one of these and I'll keep it for you. Don't laugh, I can. I'll cook, I'll wash your clothes, I'll scrub the floor, and you'll give up architecture. He had not laughed. She saw nothing but an unmoving attention, prepared to listen on. Try to understand, please try to understand. I can't bear to see what they are doing to you, what they're going to do. It's too great. You and building and what you feel about it. You can't go on like that for long. It won't last. They won't let you. You're moving on to some terrible kind of disaster. It can't end any other way. Give it up. Take some meaningless job like the quarry. We'll live there. We'll have little. We'll give nothing. We'll live only for what we are and what we know. He laughed. She heard in the sound of it a surprising touch of consideration for her, an attempt not to laugh, but he couldn't stop. Dominique. The way he pronounced the name remained with her and made it easier to hear the words that followed. I wish I could tell you that it was a temptation, at least for a moment, but it wasn't. And then she asks him, until when, Roark? And this is the answer. He moved his hands across the streets. Until you stop hating all this, stop being afraid of it, learn not to notice it. I'm going to repeat that line. Until when? Until you stop hating all this, stop being afraid of it, learn not to notice it. Now, instead of looking at it as a conversation between two lovers, think of it as your mind versus your soul. Your mind tells you, let go of your soul mission, let go of your purpose, let go of your divine partnership, your union. Go back to the safe, the known. Get into a convenient marriage where everything is as you have been taught, everything has been as the world, the society has expected from you. Let go of your inner happiness. Compromise, adjust, accommodate, sacrifice. Telling you, you are a fool, you're a psychopath, you're delusional for believing in something which is sounding like a fairy tale, which has no basis, which has no evidence. Your mind is telling you what the world has been showing you, because your relationship with your divine partner is nothing like what your parents' relationship was like, what you thought your relationships would be like. In everything else, you're told, believe in what the actions say. Here you have no actions to back it up. All you have is an inner knowing, nothing else. Look at this conversation as between your mind, your logic, your rational vis-a-vis your soul, which is telling you, I can't give up my divine purpose. I cannot quit on something I know is my truth. I cannot give up on this relationship, which might hurt me, destroy everything that I have built, everything that people call logical, practical, it might take a lot of time, it might not take any time at all. But I'm going to keep continuing to hold space for it, because that's what my soul is saying. So this conversation seems to be more between the mind and the soul. And the final one is what happens in the end. Now he has come to her towards the climax of the book. There was no sound in the house, only the small rustle of her hair as she leaned her head back against a chair cushion. In a moment, she was not conscious of hearing the car's approach. It was so familiar at this hour, part of the loneliness and privacy outside. She heard the car stop at the door. The door was never locked. There were no neighbors or guests to expect. She heard the door opening and steps in the hall downstairs. The steps did not pause, but walked with familiar certainty up the stairs. A hand turned the knob on her door. It was Roark. She thought, while she was rising to her feet, that he had never entered her room before. But he knew every part of this house, as he knew everything about her body. She felt no moment of shock, only a memory of one. A shock in the past tense, the thought, I must have been shocked when I saw him, but not now. Now, by the time she was standing before him, it seemed very simple. When the final moment of the union comes, for example, very unexpectedly. She thought the most important never has to be said between us. It has always been said like this. He did not want to see me alone. Now he's here. I waited and I'm ready. I'll repeat that line. He did not want to see me alone. Now he's here. I waited and I'm ready. Good evening, Dominique. She heard the name pronounced to fill the space of 5 years. She said quietly, Good evening, Roark. I want you to help me, says he. She was standing on the station platform of Clayton, Ohio, on the witness stand. This is the past, what has happened. So it's like a flashback that she's seeing what has happened in the past. And she says, Yes, Roark. He walked across the room he had designed for her. He sat down facing her, the width of the room between them. She found herself seated too, not conscious of her own movements, only of his, as if his body contained two sets of nerves, his own and hers. Hi, Vibha! And he tells about a plan that he's about to do, and that she needs to be there and everything, which is part of the plot, so I'm not going to read out. And he says, Have you understood? Yes. Everything? Yes, everything. They were standing. She saw only his eyes and that he was smiling. She heard him say, Good night, Dominic. He walked out and she heard his car driving away. She thought of his smile. She knew that he did not need her help for the thing he was going to do. He could find other means to get rid of the watchman, that he had to let her have a part in this, because she would not survive what was to follow if he hadn't. That this had been the test. He had not wanted to name it. He had wanted her to understand and show no fear. She had not been able to accept the Stoddard trial. She had run from the dread of seeing him hurt by the world, but she had agreed to help him in this, had agreed in complete serenity. She was free, and he knew it. All right. Those are the three, beginning, middle, and end, vis-a-vis how I see the progress of the twin flame journey. And it is not about, be it the divine masculine or the divine feminine who is taking the lead, who has to, it is pretty much simultaneously, even if the divine feminine is the more awakened ones, so they so of us, most of us claim, right? Or that we have been doing our inner work and our spiritual work and meditating and healing and teaching and all that. But the journey is still the same. We both, the divine masculine and the feminines, have to stop being afraid. Stop being afraid of the world, of disappointing others, of being okay with sacrificing, of wanting approval, appreciation from anybody, from allowing the world to control us, from taking decisions based on comfort, security, of torturing ourselves with unnamed, unknown fears. We have to now rise above it, find our serenity, find our inner harmony, our love literally without conditions. If you cannot be happy when your twin is happy in his current situation, you're making it conditional that he should be happy only with you, for example, or she should be happy only with you. That is ownership, that is possession, that is a karmic relationship. That is not a divine partnership. The truth is, you will find happiness, the true sense, with each other the way you have never found it anywhere else. The only question you need to ask yourself, are you willing to go the length? Are you willing to put in whatever is asked of you? Are you willing to be tested by the universe, walk through fire for it, without any evidence, without any acknowledgement from the other side? Do you know for sure? And are you going to hold the space for each other till God gives us the go ahead and the green signal for the union, which He will? How do I know? The way you will know once you have cleared all these questions. If there are any questions, I am open to taking them now. In the meantime, while you're typing your questions, please be a little slow and patient with me in case I miss it. I'm going to address Ravisha, if you're still there. Quickly, I'm going to address physical illnesses are an indication of unhealed thoughts and emotions. Okay, it's very important for you to release all your past baggages, to heal your inner child, children, to collapse old timelines, to change your perspective of looking at things, especially if you have victim mentality, fears of rejection, abandonment, not deserving love, low self-esteem. There's a whole list I had made for one of my clients, which God willing, tomorrow in my live stream I will cover that. All right, all the things that you have to let go of when you haven't dealt with certain negative or toxic emotions or belief systems. That's when any and all physical ailments manifest because of unhealed thoughts and emotions. Now, especially during ascension, the symptoms surface for you to become aware so that you can heal that thing, that aspect of yours, and release it. It's surfacing for releasing, it's surfacing for you to transmutate it. Okay, first of all, I have already spoken about this. His actions have hurt me. No, I am hurt because I feel unloved, I feel rejected, I feel you're so cute, you give me so many compliments. You know what, if I'm low, I'm going to call you up and I'll ask you to give me some compliments that day. Love you so much, Ravisha and Mishupi. Hmm. uh you have to take your charge back, Ravisha. Or whoever is listening, you have to stop blaming. I'm so glad you did a regression. Vibha, I love you. I love you too. And I did read your messages, and like I said in the beginning of today's video, I just logged on, so I will reply to your messages. But I'm so happy both of you are taking charge and you're focusing on your mission. But I'm just saying that any of you who are feeling and still holding on to he has hurt me by doing this that, please stop doing it. First of all, do Ho'oponopono. I like calling it Ho'oponopo, okay, but that's the incorrect pronunciation, but it sounds cuter. I've always called it Ho'oponopo, but the correct pronunciation is Ho'oponopono, okay? So in case you are googling and you can't find Ho'oponopo, okay, so you have to start doing with everyone who's ever hurt you, who you think has hurt you. You have to do it, especially with if you're having difficult times with your divine masculine. Heal your father issues, heal any father like figures in your life, such as grandfathers, sorry, older brothers, chachas, uncles, who you have had a difficult relationship with, masculine teachers, authority figures, because the unhealed aspects vis-a-vis your father relationship is going to keep playing out with your divine masculine. And his relationship or issues with his mother, yes, with father-in-law too, okay, because there is no father-in-law. Once you it's a karmic relationship, in the sense you were supposed to be their daughter, okay, and which is why you entered their house as a daughter-in-law or whatever. And uh, that's why a lot of things are just set into certain motions, because you have to give them back certain things, and they have to give you certain things in the form of mother and father, you know. So with your divine masculine, what issues he has with his mother, you will be triggering those issues as well. So if he, for example, has been told by his mother that he is useless, or yes, forgiveness with everyone. And so if he has been felt, if he felt ill treated by the mother, or that he had to earn her love, or no matter what he did she disapproved of him, he will keep attracting karmic partners who have reiterated that pattern. He will never feel loved and accepted, and here comes along a woman who gives him unconditional love. um, that seems like a past life issue, Ravisha. So when you give them unconditional love, they don't think they deserve it, first of all, and then they don't know what to do with it. It frightens the life out of them, okay. It's not that they don't feel love, but they've never been kind of taught what is healthy love, what how to give back in love, to do what in love. And in front of your true twin flame, no matter how smart you are at manipulating other people, when you're in front of your twin flame, you're not able to lie that comfortably. Most people are not able to lie, most, unless it's one of the issues you need to heal within yourself, okay. um, and we all carry a lot of different kind of fears against violence, because as women, from the collective energy of feminine, we are afraid of sexual aggression, of being ordered around, of somebody else taking life decisions for us, of physical violence against us, of being financially, somebody taking away our financials or something like that, because we were so dependent on the masculines for eons and eons. And that is why we are being encouraged to, one at a time, one step at a time, take charge of different aspects of our lives, so that we can, once and for all, not just for us, but for all the feminines in our lineage, in the past and in the future, uh, clear those patterns out. We are doing that work of transmutating, whether we're aware of it or not. There are a lot of twin flames who don't even know the word twin flames, and they are going through the journey. They just might be feeling that, we are star-crossed, we are not meant to be together, and things like that, and then things work out. So in a way, it's a mercy for them, because they don't really know all these complicated things, which the more you try to think, the more irrational and illogical it seems, right? I'm just going to pause. I think I'll come back online after some time because my battery is dying, people. I love you. Please leave your comments and share and like. And I love you all very, very much. But my battery is really dying right now. So, leaving you all with a lot of love and light. I'll wait for your comments and questions. I'll come back and I'll answer them.